Alright guys, so we're going to take a look at the stock version of the Weeny Dynasty before we get into the customization, sort of drive it around a bit. This vehicle is based off the Morris Oxford Series 3, produced by Morris, a UK car manufacturing company. Here's the stock version of the vehicle right now. You're going to see when I get in the car, it has that sort of, what a lot of the other older vehicles in the game have, that old-fashioned squeak sound, kind of cool. I don't know, for lack of better words, that door sound that it has. Take a look at the exterior of the car, and then we'll look at the interior. The interior is a, I believe a lot of the other older-fashioned cars have that interior. What's actually cool is the primary color actually sort of affects the interior as well as secondary color, and we'll get into that in a bit. If you saw that guy, there was a guy by the casino, ended up shooting my tire and popping it. So before we drive around the stock vehicle, I am going to fix this real quick at the Los Santos Customs, and then we'll drive around the stock vehicle, just sort of get a feel for it, go through the customization, and then basically drive around the fully modified Weeny Dynasty. Alright guys, so we got the car fixed up after that guy popped the tire. So just get another look real quick of sort of 360 view of the exterior of the car, just get another quick view of the interior of the car as well. Like I said, we'll talk about sort of how the primary and secondary color actually affects the colors in the interior. But just I want to take it for a quick spin here, just kind of get a feel for what it feels like in the stock version of the car. We will also go over the fully modified, as I stated earlier, but I want to get a feel of what it feels like, just the stock version. So sort of right off the bat, just driving it around. Obviously, it's really not that fast of a vehicle. Top speed's definitely not going to be. I mean, just off of driving the stock, and I mean, I could even tell you even from when I drove the fully upgraded, which we'll get to. It's definitely not a vehicle that's going to be something that's obviously going to be competitive. You're going to want to take into races, performance-wise and whatnot. The vehicle doesn't handle too badly. In my opinion, it feels like it feels fairly heavy on the road. Like the power steering feels very stiff in a sense. Like the turning is obviously you're not going to want to make a quick turn real quick. So again, like performance-wise, as far as races, competitiveness is concerned, you're really not going to want to consider this car as far as that is. But there's going to be a lot of other cool things, as far as like the uniqueness of the vehicle is concerned, which is really what I look at when these new vehicles come out. I really like to see what unique features are to the car. But if you really look at the uniqueness of this vehicle and really what it has and what it has to offer, I think that it really makes this car worthwhile. So we're going to get into the customization here real quick, and then like I said, we'll go over the performance of the vehicle, or sort of just drive it around a bit, fully modified. Alright guys, so here is the customization coming up here. I think guys, check this out. For the most part, I'm sort of just going to go through it. Like I said, I'm not going to show me going through the whole process of me customizing this car. I take usually a long time customizing them, so I'm not going to show that whole process. But just a couple of things I do want to go over before I sort of just let you guys check this out. The wheels on this car are actually unique stock wheels, so that is sort of a cool feature. We obviously don't always get that, so that's obviously cool. One thing I did not go over, at least I briefly, you'll see later on when I sort of go over the respray, I didn't actually go through all like the primary and the secondary, because usually what I check for is if there's a trim color. But what's actually interesting is, even though there's not an initial trim color to this car, what's actually cool is the primary and the secondary colors actually affect the primary color. Both the primary and secondary color do affect the interior of the vehicle. The primary actually affects the interior of the doors, and the secondary color sort of affects the color around the dash, where the steering wheel is, so the glove department, that area. So that's sort of cool about this car. So even though there's not really an initial trim color, there's still, the primary and secondary color still do sort of serve as trim colors as well as on the exterior. So that's pretty cool. We don't see that a lot, so I'd say that adds uniqueness as well with the stock tires. There's a lot of other cool options to this car. Obviously got our 10 unique liveries, just like all the other vehicles in the Diamond Casino Resort update, at least the drip feed cars. A lot of other cool options, like the grill options, some cool bumper options. One thing that I think is pretty cool, which which we'll touch on in a second, sort of after the customization, as you'll see with my final product, the cars. I like the components you could put on the roof. Obviously, if you look at the liveries and you look at some of the components, you could actually make this car into a taxi cab, which a lot of people went for, which I think is pretty cool. So I think that adds to the uniqueness too. Because basically what I wanted to touch on with that was basically in GT Online, I think a lot of people obviously are attracted to GT Online because it's a freedom-based game. Obviously, there's a lot of freedom in the game, but not only that, a lot of people are attracted due to role-playing. So, you know, I think what's really cool about this is the fact that you can make this into a taxi and sort of role-play with it. I know a lot of people like to do that, and unfortunately, a lot of vehicles in the game it's hard to do that with. There are a couple other ones which I'll go over in a second after the customization, but it is one of few cars you can really roleplay with based off of just pure customization and not doing mods and whatnot. So I think that's really cool. You could also make this car, is some of the liveries I'm going through right now, you can make it into sort of a race car too. I believe there's even some bumper options, sort of make it look more like a race car. I personally didn't go for that just because, you know, I really don't think this car is really meant for racing in my opinion, but I'll let you guys check out the rest of the customization, and then after that we'll go over, like I said, I'll just drive around the fully modified version of this vehicle, touch on a few more things, and that'll be the end of the video. So go ahead and check the rest of this out, and we'll get into the driving part of the fully modified vehicle here in a second.
No rush at all. Life is hard when you can have anything. Making decisions is stressful. How many cars you got in this garage again? Do you need a drink? Bubbles or something? Whatever you desire. Technology and budget permitting. Should give you the right amount of bounce. Think long and hard. You're not gonna get a flat.
Alright guys, so here's the final product of my car. Originally I was trying to stay away from the taxi car vibe a little bit just because so many people did it, but I feel like I made it a little bit different. A lot of people went with a complete yellow color. I went with a primary black with a pearlescent galaxy blue and the secondary yellow. You'll see here, as I was talking about earlier, I sort of want to show you how the primary and secondary color affect the car. You can sort of see the black along the doors and then the yellow along the dash, basically because I have a black primary color which affects sort of that color along the interior of the doors, and the secondary yellow affects the dash and the interior of the car as well, so that's pretty cool. What I'm showing you here is actually the Canis Camacho. The reason why I'm showing you this is because I talked about how this car is a role-playing car. This is another car I could see as role-playing just because you have this sort of the Zancudo livery on there. Another car, the Canis Free Crawler, I believe, is another vehicle that you can sort of role-play with. I believe it has a lifeguard livery as well as a Zancudo. I just wanted to sort of show that there's only a few vehicles, but that's sort of a couple other ones. But I really like this car because you can role-play with it. You'll see here I'm driving around with it right now. I just kind of want to take it around downtown Vinewood. Just sort of feel it fully customized. Again, not too different from the, obviously just a little bit quicker than the stock version, but for the most part it's still the same. It's still not going to be something you're going to want to take into a race, and you're still not going to want to, it's not going to be a competitive base car, basically, is what I'm getting at. But overall the performance is pretty well. One thing that I was wondering if it slid a lot like the Weeny Dynasty did. I feel like when I played the Vespucci job, and I do own the Weeny Dynasty as well, I feel like it slid a lot when you make turns and if you try to drift it. Obviously this car doesn't drift too well, but it doesn't seem to slide too much. It seems like it sticks to the road pretty well, so I guess that's pretty good about this car. But overall, again, like I said, despite the performance, despite I shouldn't even really say performance, but despite maybe the top speed not being something that's obviously gonna smoke another sports classic vehicle, I think the overall just customization in general is really what makes this car special. I mean, think about GT Online. All the time we're getting a new hypercar, we're getting a new sports car, and don't get me wrong, those cars excite me. I love getting those cars just as much as everybody else, but I feel like these cars really add to GT Online and are really exceptionally special just because, one, we don't get a lot of these type of cars, and in the fact that we don't get a lot of them, when they're finally added, it really adds sort of that unique aspect and just makes it all around a special vehicle. So again, like I said, even though you may not want to get this for performance, as far as a collectible in game and just overall having fun with the car, this car is great for that. I mean, like I said, I think the role-playing aspect, not to repeat myself, but I just think that's so cool because there's just I don't think there's enough vehicles in the game to be able to do stuff like that. So, I just think that really is what makes this car very unique. Just even besides the customization, the overall just being able to create this into a taxi cab and, role-play with this, I think really makes this car a 10 out of 10 as far as uniqueness is concerned. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Hope it gave you some insight on this vehicle just to basically help you determine whether this is a vehicle you want to add to your collection GT Online or not. I definitely think a lot of people are going to be buying this car, especially considering the price. I mean, like I said, yeah, despite the performance, just the overall uniqueness of the car, in taking into consideration the price tag, which isn't too bad, I definitely think this is going to be a vehicle that a lot of people are going to be buying. And is going to be a popular, role play car among the community. But yeah, in any case, guys, I appreciate you watching the video, and as always, have a great day.